What's going on, everybody? This is Clark Beckham, your host of the Idol Breakdown, former runner-up of American Idol. We have 12 of the top 24 singing for their lives in Hawaii in the incredible Disney resort. How could we forget? First, we have the judges doing a little skit, and I gotta say, I'm just gonna touch on it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was cute, and I thought Carrie rocked. She's a great actress. She could totally do like movies and commercials if she wanted. Some celebrities, like athletes and singers, try to cross over to that acting world, and it's not good. I think she could totally kill it, because I thought this was great. First is Che. Woo!
Tonight there will be a party. Know you, yeah.
Ugh.
We'll be jamming until the morning.
Ew.
Yeah.
Che had an interview that I saw, and he was talking about singers that has inspired him, singers that he has been influenced by, and he mentioned Elliott Yamin, and I was like, of course. Maybe the most underrated singer in Idol history is Elliott Yamin, one of my favorite singers, period. And Che lines right up with this. I totally get that. He's such a pro and looks cool as a cucumber, like we talked about last week. Every time that he takes the stage, there's not a ton more for me to say about Che other than he's doing perfect performances. Some people are like, no such thing as a perfect performance. Totally is. There totally is. Look at the national anthem by Whitney Houston and tell me what could possibly be better for her in that moment. There are totally many perfect performances, and this was, I don't know what he could have done that would be any better. And being first is typically never where you want to go. Actually, second might be the worst position. But he had an up-tempo song and was jamming, and usually those don't go great for really just wonderful singers. And it did go great. The band was killing. The band eats all night on this episode. They're doing a lot of cool stuff. One cool thing they did that freaked me out was, so the main lick to Master Blaster is, okay? So they do that the whole time. And the band, like the bass, everyone is just doing that. They're doing that lick together. Then at the end, they put chords to it and they kind of rise up the minor key that they're in. So it was like, and then he does a big run, and then they trash can on the one. Nasty. Let's talk about Penny. Ooh. Ooh, that was crazy. I think Penny's better than we even thought, and I already thought she was great. She did a great performance here. I loved, again, the band. That slow retard at the end. Retard means just like, usually it's like the tempo's here, like that, and it's like big ending kind of a thing. But it's almost like they're just ticking down, like someone's on the click and just slowly ticking it down to like 80 beats per minute, 79, 78, 77, 76. And it's just slowly getting slower and slower and stays that way for like 10 seconds. And it's so sick. It's like we're moving in mud, but it's awesome and feels like Pocket. And she takes the stage like a star, performs like a star. It is a really tough spot to be second in this order. And we didn't see a ton of her in Hollywood Week. She and Grayson had their duet in the beginning of the last episode of Hollywood Week, and it was really strong. It was kind of the only time we saw them. So they might be she might be in trouble. But just because of the position, and that's really a bummer, because she was fantastic. And I didn't really see any facial expressions. They talked about facial expressions just because that's a point of Like we talked about that. They talked about that in the audition, and it's just something to talk about. It was interesting. But she said herself that she thought she was pushing it too much. I think on her Instagram, she actually did a reaction video to me talking about it, which is always terrifying when people do that. But it looked really natural here, and I thought she was just a star. I thought she looked awesome. Let's talk about liking this video. Just a reminder, I figured if you're gonna like it, you're gonna like it, and if you don't, then you're not. Whatever, no matter what I say. So if you're that person, here's your chance to like and subscribe, and you can even hit the notification bell if you really want to go wild. Colby. Oh, let's go. Oh, jeez. I loved this pre-roll. Just her laughing and talking about how great the resort was. We're seeing a little bit of her personality that hasn't been on display like this. And seems to be absolutely hysterical and just a hilarious, funny, bubbly, wonderful person. So that's huge because America will vote for people they fall in love with and people they root for and feel like they know and are cheering for. Your voice and musical ability can only do so much there. It can do a lot, but what really takes it over the top is if people talk about you and half of what they talk about or more is how awesome you seem. They just seem like such a great person. I love what they do. I love them. And that is the kind of material we're getting from Colby. Really seeing her personality shine. And then she sings. And I know she's been slaying every song from the beginning vocally, but this one just got me differently. Everything just felt right. Her taste was so nice. Everything she did I wanted to happen. Like when it happened, I was like, yeah, that hit the spot, like a good meal. Just every choice, every run. She did this in the beginning. She did this little growl thing on the consonant of changed. That Jennifer Holliday does all the time. I guarantee you with all my life would bet everything that she has got that from Jennifer Holliday. And I don't mean got it, like stole it. I mean, was inspired by it and was like, oh, that's dope. I really like that and identify that with myself. Let's add it in this performance and wherever I want. And she executes it masterfully. I thought this was awesome. Halftime is when you've got the beat going, and then halftime goes, it just feels huge and epic, and they did it really, really well. The band is in their bag. They've got a couple things they're really good at, and that's one of them. Really tasteful halftimes, licks, chord changes beneath minor keys, if you're a nerd like me, like the Master Blaster. That minor key, the moving around those, they're very good at that. They got a lot of tricks in their bag, and we're seeing them all. Bailey. I was pretty disappointed with song choice. I feel like Bailey is solid gold as far as an artist and what he can bring to the table. And he showed us that, in my opinion. He showed us that in the audition, and we have yet to see that thing again. He gave us a little bit of like the heartfelt, soft acoustic guitar vibes with Hey Jesus. For some reason, I wasn't into that performance either, but up-tempo, singing happy. I'm sure the producers were thrilled because all they want, especially for Hawaii, but when we're doing these top 24 performances, when there are a lot of singers, they do not want to get into a snooze fest where everyone's doing ballads, even though ballads really play to the strength of a world-class singer. He's that guy that connects emotionally and we're just drawn in. And he sings Happy by Pharrell. And he's moving around and it just feels like there's this old story in the Bible where David is this like bad to the bone shepherd and he kills lions and bears like with a slingshot and with a rod and stuff. And he wants to go fight this giant. And the king of the time, King Saul, is like, here, let me put you in some armor. And the armor's huge and it's heavy. And David's like, get this off me. This is not for me. This is not mine. It feels like Bailey is wearing King Saul's armor here. He's trying to do the up-tempo fun, like, come on, let's have a good time. And I'm like, no, dude, that's not your thing. In my opinion. It doesn't feel like his thing. It's not what I fell in love with anyway. So I am actually really worried for Bailey, and I hope he didn't. If he had another song that was like really emotional, and then the producers were like, how about Happy? And he went for it, I'm going to rage because I'm just scared he fell into the up-tempo trap that the producers try to get everybody to do. Let's talk about Victor. Speaking of up-tempo, okay, he says he's going to do this country song. I don't know the song because by name, because I don't really listen to country. And then he starts singing it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This song? Big truck, I'm like, oh, why are you singing this song? And it's Luke Bryan. It's like, okay, I understand. And he kept going, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. And then he kept going, and I was like, all right. And then he starts dancing, is doing a shoulder thing. And I'm like, okay, I'm kind of into this. He's got the cowboy hat and suspenders. And I'm like, by the end, I'm like, okay, this is awesome. I actually really like this performance a lot. Incredible gumption, confidence, and just gall in the best way to do this song. But homie just puts on a performance. I feel like we only see who Victor really is when he has a big old stage and a band and an opportunity to go for it. And that, I think, maybe was the missing element for me in the past, why I wasn't just really a big Victor fan as far as his performances go. And now I'm a big Victor fan. I'm like, yeah, I'll watch that over and over. I'll sing anything because he's a great singer too. And he's making good choices. And his dance moves are crazy, dude. Like, it's different. It's just different than anything I've seen. And I can't believe he pulled it off, but he did. And I'm so proud. This grew on me more and more. And now I don't think things will have to grow on me. I think I'll just trust him in the future. Gabby. I thought she started just a hair bit shaky in the beginning, which is understandable. You start off really, really, really soft and a bit into the top part of her chest voice, speaking voice range, and it's high stakes. And it's Hawaii. You're there for a while and you're rehearsing, all leading up to this one moment, and America's voting, and it's soft, and it's a little shaky, so I get that. I thought the last note was bonkers. As a whole, this performance didn't get me. I was really looking forward to it when I saw how much emotion was involved in the pre-roll and how close it hit to her. And it almost felt like the song wasn't quite right. The arrangement wasn't quite right. It didn't hold me. There were kind of just like down moments that I kind of mentally checked out in. I know she can do better. I think she's okay. She's gonna make it through. We'll see. I've kind of got the two in my head that I think are going to go home. Whether I share that with you, I don't know. I probably will, but we'll see. Let's talk about Mikey. Yeah. Yeah. Mikey wins Best Arms of the season he looks amazing. Let me just say, I'm a happily married straight man, and this dude looks awesome. He looks great. He's got the vibe, the tattoos, arms are incredible. He's always dressed really cool, perfect hair, just great looking dude. And then you add the high falsetto stuff. I mean, what else do you want? What else do you want? He does start out a little nasally and a little sharp in his notes. And that like serenading Robin Thicke lover boy type, like for not lover boy the artist, but that vibe, like lover boy suave type of a vibe, can feel real forward and nasally like that. So you just got to be careful. Just bring it back a little bit, just back in the resonance. When I say back, we have different places we can resonate from as singers. We can go real forward, like Stevie Wonder kind of lives up here. Oh, so long for this night I prayed. Kind of just stays up here. Michael McDonald would be all the way back, the antithesis of Stevie Wonder's tone. Oh, so long for this night I prayed. Hey. Marvin Sapp, a lot of gospel singers will come way, way, way back here. It feels like he's forward, but then up just a little too much in the nasal cavity to me. But that resonance, real forward and a little bit up, really soars when you do really high falsetto notes, and he does that. It does great. I'm really curious to see how America's going to receive him. People are already asking me, like, who do I think is going to win? Well, we really don't know until we see how America votes. Until then, let's talk about Zaylee. Zaylee is really interesting to me. She's obviously confident in herself enough to audition for American Idol. She's got to be aware that she's at least some level of super good to be in the top 24. And then in the pre-roll with Jelly Roll, she's like, I don't really know if I'm good. Like, I don't know, maybe am I good? And in a way, I'm like, how could you not know that? And in another way, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much the constant inner dialogue of every artist I've ever known at any stage, professionals to amateurs. So I think there's a bit of that that'll never go away, although it'd be super nice if it would. But every time she sings, I'm feeling it and I'm drawn in. And that's really the most important part. And she's really great at keeping her eyes open. Beautiful eyes, always. They're just wide open. They're not kind of like this. They're just like, here are my eyes. And that is great because eyes are the window to the soul. And the best way to connect to someone is to just look at them. And we can always see her eyes. She's always keeping them open for us, which is great. Her songs are always great. Every time she sings, it feels like an artist. It does not feel like a singer singing a song. It feels like Zaylee, just very specific, which is priceless to have. Some of her top notes get away from her here. I think they get a little too high in her soft palate region, which might sound really weird, but instead of keeping them based and centered and around a solid foundation and plenty of air and support, you can kind of get away sometimes with just kind of flipping it way up here. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In my opinion, it almost never works because even if the pitch is on, the tone gets a little too thin up there in the sky. And my advice would be stay where it's super centered. And if you have one note that needs to go up there and like you flip it and that's the only way you can hit it, because if you try to stay centered and down here and full of air and like this big belting note that stays in your chest voice, if you can't hit that note but you really need it, try one up there. One just little moonshot. But when you try to live up there, especially if you're doing a run up there and some control, I don't know anybody who can do that. So in that register, in that little flip part of her belting voice, it gets a little thin. I would avoid staying up there for too long because things can get away from anyone, in my experience, that sings up there in that type of register. Brianna. Sing. Ooh, sing. Thought this was fire. I forgot that this was a Christian song, and I was listening to the lyrics. I was like, man, this is really easy to apply to God. And then it's like, oh, this is a Lauren Daigle song, which is great because the best compliment you can get when you're singing a cover is, did you write this? Or this is your song, right? And ironically, the best advice you can get sometimes when you're singing an original is like, who wrote that? This case, it feels like this is her song that was written for her. It's perfect for her voice. There's deep conviction there in the message. I think just from observation, and this gets tricky because this is really hard for me to observe accurately, to have an accurate judgment on an observation like this. But if I can try, the message, there's a huge connection point there with her personal life and her faith and what the song is saying. And it feels like there's a detachment in her eyes. I feel like it's not actually going through her mind and she's not actually thinking about it when she's singing. Now, even when like the most seasoned professional in that scenario, that's almost an impossible task to really emotionally go there. And there are a limited amount of spaces in your working memory, which is what you're thinking about in that moment. And for you to be able to block out everything like Alani and Hawaii and the stage and the crowd and the weather and the band and your in-ear mix and the judges and the camera, which one's on, where do you look, any physical choreography, and to just be able to lock in most of your slots into He's Still Rolling Stones and all the faith connections that she has with this song and her life is a tall order. It's a very tough ask, but that is the ask of the elite performers. I'm being pretty nitpicky because really there's nothing I could possibly say that I remember went wrong with her performance. Thought it was great. I just feel like she can connect a little more. I looked in her eyes. I'm like, I think you're thinking about singing the right notes instead of thinking about how Jesus still rolls stones away. So that's really it. With Brianna, that's pretty much the only piece of advice I think she needs, period. Her voice is always right in there. It's just, what are you thinking about? Are you thinking about singing the right notes? Or are you thinking about what you're singing about? Because her instrument is so good, all she has to do is think about the message of the song and everything else will fall into place. Love the song with all your heart, mind, and soul, and everything else will figure out. All the laws of singing are wrapped up in this law. Isaiah, Simone Still.
You can have it all. You can have it all.
How did, he goes, I think it was his grandmother. He's like, yeah, my grandma said I got family in Hawaii, but I never really believed her. What do you mean never? First of all, you never believed your grandmother? What kind of grandmother you got? Second, why would they not reach out, or why would you not know them? Now, I will say, I also met a lot of family that I didn't know I had when I was on American Idol and after I got out, which is its own thing. But anyway, he meets family. He has family in Hawaii, and apparently he had no idea, which is wild to me. I wasn't a big fan of the cameras constantly showing his family screaming at the top of their lungs during the song, because a lot of the time it was the best parts of the song. I was like, I'd rather you turn his mic up and not turn their mics up. I don't want to hear them screaming. I get it. As viewers, we love seeing family and them very excited, and to see and to hear them could actually help him and make you root for him more. But I, personally, someone who loves singing, someone who loves great singers like Isaiah, I just want to hear his voice. I thought this was great. I'm usually not a big fan of reggae, but he made it work. He and Che are incredibly consistent. He's getting more and more consistent. He ended the song with a big old run that didn't really hit, but it was just like, what was that a little bit? But he had so much personality in it. It was almost like it almost worked, even though the run itself technically didn't happen. it almost kind of worked as this like throwaway, like, haha, I'm just having fun. Ugh. Am I right, guys? Woo! Kind of a thing. But my thing is like, okay, it'd also be cooler if, not just another option, find a run that you can slay and then slay it. Because he has many that he can. Just my opinion. Let's talk about Slater.
Oh, where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney top.
Slater, once again, is getting better and singing better every time we hear him. And maybe we're just seeing that he's better than we thought he was every time that he sings. He's got a lot of rasp and he's got runs and he sounds very, very similar stylistically to Stapleton. Not tone as much, but Chris Stapleton, I guarantee, I would not be surprised if he was his number one artist on Spotify, his most listened to artist. He was a hair flat on some of the top notes, but very slight. Carrie says that she thinks down the road, he will be known as one of the finest voices in country music. Whoa, that is high praise from the high queen of country music herself. And I can't say that I disagree. I mean, he's very young and he's an incredible songwriter. He's got a monopoly on this market as far as the top 24. There's nobody like him. And the thing that he does historically has been what the winner is most of the time. And I think he might get all the Southern votes. All of them. He might be a dark horse to win. I think he is the dark horse to win the whole thing. Because we are caught up with all these freakish singers, which I'm happy to be caught up with. But if we look in the past, what does American Idol voters, who do they vote for the most? Kids like Slater. Kids who are emotionally connected, very charming. He has this like chivalrous spirit about him. You just feel like he opens the door for everyone. And then he takes a guitar and he sings, and the dude just grinds into that song. The melody, the meaning of the song, he's just killing it. He's not doing anything but killing whatever he tries to sing. Look out for Slater. Last, for the pimp spot, the very last position in the show is Jamal.
You ain't nothing but a liar. Ooh.
Jamal's one of my favorites, vocally. And this one was great song, but for some reason, it felt empty to me. I just want to say this again. I've said it a bunch. I'll say it again. This is just my singular opinion. I'm just a dude that was on American Idol 10 years ago. I've been able to talk to some of the contestants here and there. And what disheartens me is some are taking my opinion way too highly. To me, this performance from Jamal was on the emptier side of things and didn't really get me. He did great stuff, but I wasn't crazy about it. If I watched this thing tomorrow, I could be running laps, freaking out, saying it's the greatest thing ever. I don't know. Maybe it's just the time of day that I watch. I watch these. This is weird of me, but I watch these in the morning. I watch these the next morning, and maybe just early, and I just wasn't feeling it. I don't know. But the key is, and maybe I'm spot on. But the point is, I'm just a dude with random opinions that I share because people on YouTube like it. So if you're a contestant and you're listening to this, whether you're Jamal or Slater or Isaiah or any contestant that's listening to this, please, for the love of our Heavenly Father God, stop taking my opinion like it's gospel, because it's not. You got a lot of great, phenomenal vocal coaches and opinions to be given to you and coaching you. And I coach, if you want to be coached, just DM me. This is not a coaching thing. This is just critique on a YouTube channel. So please do not hold this with high regard. And I say that because I feel like I'm wrong as I say it. But this performance from Jamal, I was not a big fan of. It was a lot of like, here I go with a big run. Here I go with a big run. Oh, let me feel it. And I just was like, okay. And it didn't get me. Again, maybe if I watch this tomorrow, I'd be dying. I don't know. I'm just telling you that's what I felt when I watched it this morning. It's also one of those performances that very well could be one of those had to be there. You had to be there live. And if you were there live, you could see that he was playing it perfectly for that environment, for that outdoor event, and with the band and everything that clicked. And it just doesn't translate onto TV. That is valid, and that really happens with up-tempo, high-energy stuff. So that could be happening all the time. Maybe it happened here. Friday, we'll have an auto breakdown episode of the rest of the top 24. And then I think next week we find out who gets cut. All this stuff that I'm talking about when I'm talking about resonance positions and having a foundation where you're singing and not flipping up to where it can be too thin and hard to navigate. I am a vocal coach. That's what I do. I have online courses, vocal foundations, which are just 3 or 4 things that if you don't know these things, you are not singing to your full potential. Promise. And they're basic, and they're things that can change your voice immediately. Singing is very nuanced. It's hard to get better. Sometimes these things are not hard to use to get better at immediately. And also, if you get into it and you're like, yeah, I knew all these things already, that's fine. Just ask for your money back and I'll give it to you. 100%. No questions asked. So you really have nothing to lose. Also, the music theory stuff. If you're into when I'm playing these chords and showing you how awesome these band licks and chord movements are, I go over a lot of fancy stuff like that in my music theory courses. Would love for you to check those out. I am so sorry for missing the live stream. I was humiliated because I was in LA Friday and I was like, wait, the time change. I think it's at 5, and I looked and it was 5:38, and I was like, oh no, the live stream. And I looked and I just missed it. So please forgive me. This is going to be Wednesday. I am in town and I will be here for the live stream. So if you're watching this as a premiere, which you should, premieres every Wednesday and Friday at 7 o'clock Central Time, which is 5 o'clock California time, then you can watch and we can chat in the side little chat box. And then we'll do a live stream Q&A. If you haven't been to a live Q&A, this is how it works. If you're a member, you can ask me questions and I will answer them for free. If you're not a member, you can ask a question in a super chat and then I will answer that question. Again, members mean is $5 a month. If you have questions, I'll answer as many as you want, and you can just pay $5 for the whole month, and then you won't have to do a super chat for questions, and you have unlimited questions. So consider that. Okay, I think that's all. Oh, that's not all. My most important thing. I say this for me, and I say this for you, viewers and fans, and contestants if you're watching, even though you should not watch these things. It is not the critic who counts. The credit belongs to the one who is actually in the arena, who at best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at worst fails while daring greatly. See you guys in a couple days.